Now in this lecture we are going to look at another operation that we can perform on a given array. So here we will search for a given value in the array. This means that we will check that if a given value exists in the array or not. So let's say we have an array like this, and if we want to look for a value of a, and we want to see that if this value exists in this array or not, so we have three options over here. So the first option is we know the exact location of an element and we use the index of the element to access it. So in this case the index of a is 0, so we can access a by using index. Now if we don't know where it is located and our data is sorted like this, in this case we can use search algorithm to optimize our search, such as binary search. So we will explain the binary search in searching algorithms. Here I'm not going to go to the details of it. Here I just want to mention that it's for sorted arrays. And the third case is if you don't know where it is located and your data is not sorted, you will need to search through elements in the array and check that if the current element is the element that you are looking for. And it continues like this until we find the element that we are looking for. So let's say we have an array like this and we want to look for the value of e in this case. So the first thing that we are going to do, we are going to the first element and checking that is this the element that we are looking for or not. Now you see that we are looking for e, but in the first cell we have a over here, so that's why this is not the element that we are looking for. Then we are continuing to the next cell. So in the next cell we have b. Is this the element that we are looking for? So you see that it's not. Then we are continuing to the next cell. So in the next cell, which is third cell at the index of 2, we have c, so this is not the element that we are looking for. Then we are continuing to the fourth cell. So in fourth cell we have d. So as we mentioned, we are looking for e, so this is not the element that we are looking for. Then when we reach e, so this is the element that we are looking for. Now in this case we can return the index of this element or itself, or we can return a message saying that the element is located in this array over here. Now based on this logic, we are going to create a method in Java. Now here, as you remember in our previous lecture, we have created single dimension array Java file. So in this file we have single dimension array class. So inside this class we are inserting our methods one by one. Now before we have implemented insert method, array traversal method, and now we are going to implement search method inside this array that we have declared over here in the beginning of the single dimension class. Now here our method name will be search in an array. So I'm going to create method like this, public void. So the name of method will be search in array. Then this will take as a parameter integer and the value that we need to search. So value to search. So the reason that I'm putting integer over here is our array is integer array, so that's why we are looking for the value of integer. So inside this function, the first thing that we are going to do, we will start loops through this array and check that if the cell value is equal to the value that we are looking for or not. So for looping through array, we are going to write our loop like this. So in I equals 0, then it continues until the length of array, so arr.length, and each time it will be increased by 1. Now inside this for loop, I'm going to check that if arr with the index of I equals the value that we are searching, then in this case I'm going to print message saying that the value is found. So we can put system.out.print value is found. Now here if you want you can print out index as well, so I can put like this: the value is found at the index of, so here I'm going to concatenate value, so plus I, because we have found it at the index of I. Now then I'm going to put return over here to stop the loop. But otherwise, if we couldn't find the element inside this loop over here, then in this case we are going to print out saying that the value is not found. So we will put value to search and then concatenate with the is not found. Now with this we have completed our method. So as you see here, we are looping through the array and checking that if the value that we are looking for exists in this array or not. If this exists, we are printing out it over here, so it's going to print out with the index of I. Otherwise we are printing out message saying that the value is not found. Now let's check how this method is working. Now as you remember, we have created an array over here in our previous lecture. So in our array we have 3 elements. So if I run this method, For example, the element of 20, it should return the value found at the index of 1. So I'm going to call this method STA, search an array. So I'm going to put 10 over here. So for simplicity, I'm going to just comment out these parts from here because we don't need these parts right now. So if I run our code, you see that first it's inserting these 3 elements to the array, so that's why it shows successfully inserted. Then it shows that the value found at the index of 0. So we are looking for 10, so 10 is located at the index of 0. Now if I look for example 20, it's going to print out the value is found at the index of 1. Now as you see, the value is found at the index of 1. For example, if I put the value that does not exist in our array, for example 40, and run our code, now you see that in this case it says that 40 is not found in our array. So everything works smoothly. So our search method works the way that we want. Now with this we have completed our method. Now let's see what's the time and space complexity for this method. So as always, to find the time complexity, we'll start from the first line of code. So in the first line of code, we have a loop. So as you see, we are looping through the first element till the last element of the array. Now in the worst case, if the element is not exist in our array, so in this case we have to loop through all elements of the array. So if the number of elements in the array is n, so the time complexity for this loop will be on. Now inside loop we have if condition over here. Now we know that from our rules that if condition takes O1 time complexity. Then we are continuing to this part. So in this part we are printing out message to the console. So printing out message to the console takes also O1 time complexity. Then we have a return statement. So return statement also takes O1 time complexity. Then at the end we have a message over here which is printing out to the console. Now printing out to the console also takes O1 time complexity. Now if you combine these complexities over here, we get On time complexity because non-dominant terms are eliminated. So in this case non-dominant terms are O1s. So that's why the time complexity for this method will be On. Now the space complexity is O1 because in this case an extra memory is not required to perform this operation. So that's why the space complexity is O1. So hopefully everything is clear about this. So I hope you have understood how we can search for a given value inside an array. So this kind of search also is called linear search, and we are going to talk about it very detailed in our searching algorithm sections. Now with this we have come to the end of this lecture, so hopefully everything is clear about this lecture. So see you in the next lecture.